Welcome back to another episode of The Lofty Lender. This week, we're making holiday history as we welcome the one and only Santa Claus to the show.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.
You know him as the guy with the sleigh, the reindeer, and the list that keeps us all on our toes. But did you know Santa is also an expert when it comes to real estate? That's right. Santa has been delivering gifts to homes across the world for centuries, and no one knows neighborhoods quite like he does. With a global perspective and a unique eye for cozy chimneys, Santa's insights are second to none. Today, he's helping us dive into the Des Moines housing market, sharing advice on buying during the holidays, and maybe even spilling some secrets about his own North Pole real estate. So grab a mug of cocoa, get comfy, and let's talk all things home buying with Santa Claus himself. Welcome to the show, Santa.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
I'll have to say, this is a first for me. I don't think I've ever interviewed someone as famous as yourself. I feel really privileged to have this honor.
Well, you also don't need to sit on my lap, and that's kind of, plus as well.
Thank goodness for that. I'm glad we're in separate rooms. All right. Well, Santa, I did a little poll of your biggest fans, some of your consumers, if you would. And they came up with a few questions for me that I wanted to start off today with.
Perfect.
And the first one is, what's your favorite kind of cookie?
So Mrs. Claus makes an amazing chocolate chip cookie that actually has some cornflakes in it as well. And we love to sit around and have a little cocoa or a little coffee with the chocolate chip cookies with the cornflakes in them.
Wow. All right. Last weekend when I saw you, you were at another venue, but when I saw you there, you said you liked round cookies, which, I can get behind that as well. So what's your favorite city to deliver presents in?
Ooh, that's a really tough one. So I can't honestly say I have a favorite city per se. Some cities are easier to get around than others. Like for instance, London, everyone has a chimney, I think, everywhere about in London. Not necessarily the same in Waukee, per se. But that being said, it's a lot of fun just to see all the different styles of homes all around the globe.
Doesn't it get hot with your hat and coat when you are in the warmer areas of the country or the world?
Another great question. It can get warm. That's one of the reasons I think that traditionally we've always done this at night. It's a little bit cooler. But nonetheless, it does get a little bit warm. But that's part of the magic of Christmas, right?
So there's no Santa Speedo that comes out?
Well, maybe on the 26th.
Next question was, how do you get down a chimney in the house if it doesn't have one?
Ooh, another great question. So that depends a lot on the house. But let's face it, if this guy can make it down a chimney, he can also make it through another opening in the house, potentially a door, garage, different ways that we get in. But, rest assured, boys and girls, kids of all ages, when you're asleep, Santa figures out a way to get in.
You give children presents all around the world, but it makes me wonder, what do you do for Mrs. Claus?
Somehow I don't think that's really a question from the kids.
All right, Santa. Well, we better cut that off there. We'll stop with that question from the fans. Let's get into a little bit about this Des Moines real estate market that you know
Sure.
so much about. You've seen homes all over the world. What makes Des Moines so unique compared to other places you've delivered gifts to?
Wow. Des Moines, there's an old slogan years ago, Des Moines is a surprising place, and it really is. I truly have traveled around the globe, and I always look forward to coming back to Des Moines for a number of reasons, but there's really nothing that Des Moines lacks, truly, except maybe a beach and a mountain, but outside of that, amenities and whatnot, everything you could really need is here. If you want to see a Broadway show, there's a Broadway show available. So whatever it is that you might want to do, lots of concerts, lots of different activities. I think a lot of it is that for the size town, you can get anywhere in Des Moines in 15, 20 minutes, and you can basically do about anything you'd like to do outside of maybe a beach or a mountain. Good news is there's an airport, and it's also never more than 15 or 20 minutes away. So you can go anywhere pretty quick from the Des Moines area.
I mean, there's Sailorville Beach. It might not be quite the same. It might not be as warm, but we still have a beach, you know.
Yeah, that's true. And there's Big Creek, and there's Gray's Lake.
There you go. Holiday seasons are a magical time, but they also can be stressful for home buyers. What advice would you give someone looking to buy a home in the Des Moines market this holiday season?
First of all, take a deep breath. Understand that you're out looking to buy, and there's people out there looking to sell. And your agent's job really is to help bring the two of you together and really work out negotiate the best possible deal for both parties. We like to see win-wins. The goal being that the buyer gets what they need and the seller gets what they need, and everyone's going to probably give a little bit on that, but nonetheless, it's certainly possible. So I think just take a deep breath, understand the seller wants to sell, you want to buy. Let's make a deal.
When you look at homes, you're often scoping out chimneys and rooftops. What features should a Des Moines buyer be looking for in a winter-friendly home?
Well, this sounds crazy. Personally, I like a home that's driveway and garage that has southern exposure because I don't really like to shovel. So from a snow standpoint, there's things you can look at that way. But that being said, I think the homes in this area basically are all built for winter in the sense of insulation, things like that. But you do want to be mindful of that, especially some of the older homes, check past utility bills, things like that, just so you have an idea of what you're getting into. It doesn't mean that it's a bad deal, doesn't mean it's not a great home, but you just want to have your eyes wide open as you go in. And again, Mid-America and the other companies around here are really good about providing that type of information.
Now, Santa, the North Pole is one of the most famous pieces of real estate in the world. Do you have any design or maintenance tips from your own experience that Des Moines homeowners can take from?
Yes, definitely. Get elves. Yeah.
Can they be tall ones? Can I qualify, Santa? Will you take me?
I think the tall money man kind of rules you out.
Oh, man.
Now, if we knew a short money man, and we both might.
Fair enough. A lot of people think the market slows down during the holidays. From your vantage point as someone who works year-round, what trends are you seeing in the real estate market right now?
So, for us, it's really been pretty good. Life still happens, right? I personally believe a lot of it has to do with each individual's mindset and how they go into the season. At the very least, think of it in light of setting the table for going into the new year. Though at the same time, family get-together can also be a great time for the family to go out and look for that house for the son or daughter that's moving back into town, or for other relatives. Again, life happens. People have babies, people get married, people all kinds of things happen. So in light of that, I'm not one to let the holidays rule us out of the business. Let's embrace the holidays and know this is a great time to welcome people into an open house to say, ho, 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 Merry Christmas.
Your nice list is legendary. If you were creating a nice list for Des Moines neighborhoods, what areas would make the cut?
Wow. There's not really again, I've lived a lot of places. There's not a place in Des Moines that I would not live, and there really isn't. And there may be people out there saying, well, but what about this area or that area? Chances are I've lived there, or lived in something similar. So in light of that, again, to me, neighborhoods are all about what you put into them. If you want a decent neighbor, be a decent neighbor. And so I think that goes a long ways. And I think in light of that, it's really just a matter of what you put into it and what you want to get out of it.
We know you work on Christmas Eve, and you do magic on those days. But for buyers in Des Moines, finding the perfect home often takes a lot of time. Any tips for staying patient and positive during the home buying process?
I always think it's important to, qualify those things that you absolutely have to have, that are truly like must-have items. Again, if a southern exposure driveway is one of those things, then don't waste a lot of time on something that doesn't have that. But know that if that's a non-negotiable in your world, you might have to wait to find it. And in light of that, it's all in line, what it is you're looking for and what's important to you. And then once you find the place that checks those boxes, make your offer.
Well, thinking about your fans, I want to talk about first-time homebuyers for a second here. And, they were probably most recently some of your biggest fans. But as someone who has incredible insight into how families live and grow, what advice do you have for first-time homebuyers in Des Moines?
First of all, get in touch with your lender. Find out how they can help you as a first-time home buyer. There's just many different programs, and it's not always about free money. Sometimes it's just about good advice, and your lenders can really be a good source of that for you. So number one, I tell people that all the time. We appreciate that they choose us as realtors, if you will, but the next thing out of my mouth is your lender. Are you pre-approved? Who are you working with? And if it's a first-time home buyer, that's super important because there's so many things they don't understand, and especially in a business where we're all about acronyms and jargon. What's PMI mean? There's so many things like that. I would venture most students in the United States couldn't define escrow if their life depended on it. So if you're a first-time home buyer, there's lots of hoops to jump through that you don't necessarily know. So having a good team, both your realtor and your lender, that can walk you through those things to help you get from where you are right now to the ultimate goal, which is that first home.
And PMI doesn't mean private magic investigators, does it? Do you have some of those on staff?
I mean, if you want it to. But ultimately, that's not probably what the mortgage company is going to do, land on. But yeah, and
the North Pole.
And one more quick thing on that. I always encourage people, think of this as like you're a first-time home buyer, and it's your first home you're buying. You're probably going to buy a second, and you're probably going to buy a third potentially. So in light of all that, let's don't get too carried away that this is the end-all be-all. This is a starting point, and let's enjoy the starting point as part of the ultimate journey.
I love it. Well, the North Pole Workshop must be a logistical challenge, right? And what can you share about keeping a home organized and functional, especially during the holiday season?
Well, if you have cats, keep them away from the tree. That's number one. So, again, every family operates a little bit different. It depends on pets, kids, all those types of things. I think, to me, one of the number one things in light of the holiday season is typically people are getting out some sort of decorations and whatnot, and so where do they take them from, and then putting stuff back and being ready to take things down. Having a plan and a time frame. Do you put up your decorations right after Thanksgiving or right before Thanksgiving? And then when do you plan on taking them down? And having a good plan in place. And especially if you've got your house listed, it doesn't mean you shouldn't decorate necessarily. If you're still living in your house, live in your house. But certainly if you have it listed, you're going to have people looking at it, let's keep it as picked up as possible for sure.
Well, I guess the last question I have for you here is there any other message that you wanted to give to those listening to our show today regarding the Des Moines market, beyond that, maybe the North Pole? What you got, Santa?
Well, we always welcome visitors to the North Pole. And if you can't make it all the way north, we have a substation in Colorado, the North Pole in Colorado, so you can go check that one out too. So that's wonderful. In general, I just think, honestly, again, areas and neighborhoods are all what you make them. And, we just recently had someone reach out from New Jersey. They've never, ever, ever been here before. They've done their research. We were very fortunate to get the phone call. They're looking to move here. And I said, so what do you like about the Des Moines area? They said, we've never been there. He said, but everything we've read about it seems to be that this is a great place for a young couple to start their first home buying and start their life together. And we're thrilled. They're coming here right after the first of the year and looking to get a place. So I think that's a lot of it. Des Moines is just and Iowa in general is just a wonderful place. Great location, centralized, 4 seasons. I like that. Obviously, I have heavy clothes. So 4 seasons are great. But some people don't necessarily like that. Well, then this might not be the place for them. And that's okay because we're happy to refer you to other agents all around the country and globe.
Finally, do you think we'll ever see a sleigh parking option in Des Moines parking garages?
Not as long as there's roofs. Of course. As long as there's roofs, we're good to go.
Well, Santa, thanks for joining the show today. It's been a real pleasure having you on.
It has been my pleasure to be here. Have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. Enjoy all the holidays during the season, and be respectful of all. Not everyone celebrates the way I celebrate or the way you celebrate, but just about everybody's celebrating something during the month of December. So again, if we're going to have peace on earth and goodwill towards all men, again, it starts with us. So, Merry Christmas, and God bless you all.
Thanks again, Santa, and thank you all for listening to this special episode. Remember, stay curious, and we'll see you next year on The Lofty Lender.